The NHL Trade Deadline is almost here. Today, I'm going to go through the TSN Trade Bait board and give you my predictions to where I think the top 10 players are going to end up. I'm only going to go through the top 10 here today, just the top 10 names. But of course, if you want to see some more IRL hockey talk in the future, make sure you leave a like on the video. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and let's get into this. Now, I will go ahead and leave a link to the list down below in the description if you want to take a look at it for yourselves. Let me know down below where you think all these different players are going to be headed, and let me know, of course, if you agree or disagree what I have to say about the top 10 of the TSN Trade Bait list. Starting it off at number 10 from the St. Louis Blues, we have Pavel Buchnevich. 48 points in 58 games so far this season. He's put up over a point per game in his previous two seasons heading into this one, including a 30-goal season in 2021-2022. He makes $5.8 million for one more year after this season, so he wouldn't be a pure rental. And some teams that have reportedly shown interest are Edmonton, LA, Vancouver, and Vegas. Now, he does have a 12-team no-trade list, which means his trade might be a little bit more difficult to put out there. Personally, I think he does stay with the St. Louis Blues. Maybe a trade happens at the draft or later into the offseason. I think they're going to hang on to him until the draft at the bare minimum. Number 9 on the trade bait board is Jacob Markstrom of the Calgary Flames. Now, we have seen a fire sale of Calgary as of late. In fact, Markstrom's not even the only Flame in the top 10, and he's having a very good season for a mediocre Calgary Flames team. 21 wins in 38 games, whatever, but a 2.57 goals against and a .914 save percentage. With the likes of Tanev and Lindholm already getting traded, I could definitely see a Markstrom trade happening if the New Jersey Devils didn't absolutely crap the bed this past weekend and basically drop their chances to 0 of a playoff spot. I think Markstrom to New Jersey made an absolute ton of sense, but now that it looks like New Jersey's going to drop out of the playoff race, does Markstrom actually get moved? Well, to New Jersey, no, I don't think it happens to New Jersey, but I do wonder about a team like the LA Kings. Now, while Riddick and Talbot haven't been terrible, the team could look to make a big move, adding in Jacob Markstrom heading into the playoffs. Now, a deal with LA would have to be money in, money out, but I wouldn't be surprised to see LA try and shore up their goaltending. And at number 8 from the Arizona Coyotes is Matt Dumba, who's not having such a great season on not such a great team. 9 points in 57 games, a -14, and he makes $3.9 million. He is a UFA after this season. For my prediction here for the number 8 on the trade board, I'm going to go with the Toronto Maple Leafs getting Matt Dumba. They don't have a lot of right-hand shot defensemen. Matt Dumba's that. And I think he'd be a great piece to the defensive core in the playoffs. He blocks shots, likes to hit, and he can eat a lot of minutes. Number 7 on the trade bait board is Frank Vatrano of the Anaheim Ducks. Having a bit of a breakout season, he's put up 48 points in 61 games so far. And he would not be a pure rental as he has 1 year left at $3.65 million heading into next season. Now, my prediction for Frank Vatrano, even though the Colorado Avalanche are definitely going to be looking for a center, I do have them taking a look at Frank Vatrano as well. If they're able to pick up both Vatrano and, say, a center, that second line becomes way more deadly, and that could really help them make another run for the Cup here in 2024. Number 6 on the trade bait board is Vladimir Tarasenko of the Ottawa Senators, someone who's having a very good season on a not very good team. Vladimir Tarasenko being a +13 on the Ottawa Senators is not something I've seen coming. He has 41 points in 57 games so far this season. He is a UFA at the end of the season, making $5 million, and honestly, I see him going to the Florida Panthers, and this is something that I said, I think, about a month ago. Not that like I'm some insider or anything, I just think the fit makes a lot of sense of Vladimir Tarasenko in Florida. The Panthers are gearing up for a cup run, and I think he'd be a great complementary piece on the second line. It would give them an absolute ton of depth. You can move Cousins down, or you can move Tarasenko up to the first line, move Verhaeghe down. There's just a lot of options when adding in Vladimir Tarasenko. At number 5 of the trade bait list, we have Sean Walker of the Philadelphia Flyers. He will be a UFA at the end of the season, and he does not have a very big cap hit whatsoever at $2.65 million. And while the Edmonton Oilers might not have a lot of cap space, that is not a big cap hit for them to take on, especially if Philadelphia is willing to retain. So I do have Sean Walker heading to the Edmonton Oilers by trade deadline day. He plays 19 minutes a night, he blocks shots, he hits. It's a very cheap contract, especially if Philadelphia is willing to retain. I'm not exactly sure what Edmonton would be able to give up, probably a first-round pick, but that could really help out their defense heading into the playoffs. Now, number 4 on the trade bait list is actually Edmonton's first-round pick, so there you go. We're just going to swap it, all right? So number 5, Sean Walker to Edmonton. Number 4, the first-round pick to Philadelphia. And at number 3, we have Adam Henrique of the Anaheim Ducks. 42 points in 60 games thus far, and he is a +3 on an absolutely terrible Anaheim Ducks team. Now, I'm a huge Adam Henrique fan. I actually have a Spitfire jersey from his time when he was here in Windsor, winning the Memorial Cups with the team. My favorite Spitfire of all time. I know his game very well. He makes $5.825 million, but he is a UFA at the end of the season. And he's a great two-way forward that I think the New York Rangers are going to absolutely love to have. If you can run Zibanejad, Trocheck, and Henrique down the center heading into this playoff run, that might be one of the best center depths in the entire league. Now, coming in at number 2 of the trade bait board is Jake Guentzel of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Over a point per game player this season, actually a point per game player over multiple seasons, Guentzel makes $6 million but is a UFA at the end of this year, and I do see Pittsburgh moving on from Jake Guentzel. They're falling out of the playoff race. They could recoup some assets and try and make a run next year. And as much as I would love to see him in the Detroit Red Wings uniform, I think that would be sick. I don't think Detroit goes for it, and I do think that instead he's going to go to the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas just lost Markstrom, and while they don't have a similar game, they have a glaring hole in that top 6, and Jake Guentzel fits it perfectly. Plus, with Markstrom going on LTIR, you know, they're going to have a little bit more cap room to work with. But I could definitely see a way they make it work. I mean, they've done it the last few years, right? And coming in at number 1 on the trade bait board is Noah Hanifin. The Calgary Flames defenseman is a plus 16 with 35 points in 60 games so far this season. He makes just under $5 million and is a UFA at the end of the season. And there's an absolute ton of teams that have shown interest in Noah Hanifin, and I wouldn't be surprised if almost every team has. He's only 27 years old, he's a left shot defenseman, but he puts up numbers and he's great defensively. He eats a ton of minutes, he blocks a lot of shots, he doesn't hit as much as some of the other defensemen on this list, but he's absolutely the best defenseman available right now, and I think that we're going to see him in a Tampa Bay Lightning uniform. They lost Mikhail Sergachev. They want to make another run. They're getting older, and adding in Noah Hanifin, even if it's just as a rental, could be a huge help for them in the playoffs. Now, Noah Hanifin is someone I would love to see in Detroit as well. I've said that for a few different players here, and maybe Eisman does visit that in the offseason if Hanifin doesn't sign an extension somewhere, but Hanifin to Tampa Bay for the number 1 pick on the trade bait board for TSN. Now, super quickly, I am going to go through just a few names here and let you know if I think that these players are going to get traded. I'm not going to go through everyone like Anthony Mantha. I've seen a lot of trade rumors of. I could see him end up in Edmonton with Ken Holland, who drafted him. Alex Wennberg, I can see in Boston maybe, you know, need help down the middle. Jake Allen, I could see either in Carolina or maybe even LA. Maybe they don't go after Markstrom, but they do go after Jake Allen. I'll say the same thing about Capo Kakinen. Maybe I see him in Carolina. I know they have Freddie coming back, but you never know with a goalie. Joel Edmondson, I'm going to say Detroit. That's just something that I see happening. I don't know why. I seen that name pop up, and he seemed like someone I could see in Detroit. I'm surprised to not see Shane Gostisbehere up here in any of that list. I am going to say that Detroit trades Ghost. So that'd be a good replacement, you know what I mean? You trade Ghost, but you can get in somebody like Joel Edmondson, a more defensive player. Maybe we can call up Simon Edmondson to play where Olimata is or something, you know what I mean? There's also rumors that Detroit's trying to trade Justin Hall, so that could clear up a little bit more room on the D-line as well. If Edmonton is going to be picking up anyone, I see them trading Brett Kulak and maybe even Warren Fogle. Chychrun, I don't think gets moved right now. I think we're going to see him get moved maybe at the draft or in the offseason. I don't think it happens before the deadline, but hey, I'm probably wrong. And Riley Smith out of Pittsburgh is the last name I'm going to talk about here. And I'm going to say he goes to the Vancouver Canucks, giving them even more depth. Now, hey, this was all for fun. I'm not an insider or anything, but I'd love to do more stuff like this in the future. If that's something you want to see, please let me know down below. Let me know where you think all of these guys are going to be going. Do you have any predictions you want me to see? And I'll be around for trade deadline, making reactions to different trades and whatnot, especially all the Detroit Red Wing moves, if there are any. So keep an eye on the channel. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Stay frosty.